Good morning, everyone. Hi, I'm Dr. Cheryl Carr, and this is the Achieve with Dr. C broadcast, the first one of October, the best month of the year, 2021. Yes, welcome. I'm so glad you're listening today. Even if you're listening to the rebroadcast, I'm happy you're doing that. I've also been told and taught that most people listen to podcasts with the sound off. So it's really important to have words talking about what you're talking about, or caption, I guess I should say, not just words. But anyway, I'm going to start doing that. Please make sure if you're not following me on Facebook or LinkedIn, please make sure you go and follow me. And if you're not a subscriber on YouTube, please make sure you go and subscribe. Click that little red button so that you can get advanced knowledge of the things that are going on with Achieve with Dr. C and Dr. Cheryl Carr LLC, as well as the foundation Achieve with Dr. C Foundation. We have so many exciting things coming up. You don't want to miss it. So please make sure you like, click, share, and make sure you subscribe, follow, and so you can find out what I'm doing. Sorry, got to turn these phones off. They always come on when I'm on the air. So how are you guys doing? How is your Monday going so far? Mine has been busy, but good. Can't complain. And today is so important. I say this every time I start off a new subject. Last month, we dealt with mindset. And we talked a lot about post-traumatic growth. And we're still continuing that. Why? Because that's what I feel like is my ministry and my offering, is getting good information out for people so that you can positively and have a growth and past the pandemic, past COVID, past any trauma that you've experienced in your life. You now have some information to either seek therapy. Help seeking is real important. If you're not doing okay, there are therapists to help you. You find your way back to a more positive and encouraged mindset. But then also, if you want to self-coach, which again, I don't recommend you do only. I do recommend it as something you bring to the table when you help seek, is that you have some self-awareness. And it's not self-awareness made on presumption or assumption, which is what we're going to talk about today, but you have good quality information listening to my shows, and you can make some decisions. And I'm going to have not only homework, but a call to action at the end of this particular broadcast. So let's get into it because it's meaty information and I really want you to take a hold of it. Let's back up and talk about mindsets because we talked about what mindsets are. They shape the life you lead, the actions you take, and the possibilities of the world that you live in. Mindsets are how you move about in the world. Mindsets are your underlying beliefs, your attitudes, assumptions that create your everyday life and in our shared world. Now, there are two types of mindsets overwhelmingly. I mean, there's lots of mindsets, and your mindset moves and ebbs and flows. But people come with a fixed mindset, which they frequently assume for their personality, which personality is set how you're predispositioned to feel, think, and act. Hey, family, hope you're doing better. I've been praying for you. Yes, and thank you for being here today. Happy to see you. So, getting back to mindsets, you have a fixed mindset when you don't believe you can acquire new information, you become a bit of a know-it-all, or you have assumptions and presumptions about who you are, what your beliefs are, everything like that. And then when you have a growth mindset, you're open to learning, you're open to acquiring new mindsets. Now, mindsets first shape your life. Mindsets shape your world. Remember, they're your underlying beliefs, your attitudes, and assumptions that create your everyday life. Mindsets can be developed. Now, we go back to childhood. Many of us grew up in an environment that shaped how we believe, what attitudes we have, what assumptions we make about the world and other people. And we don't grow past that until we confront mindsets that don't serve us well. That's right. Yes, cousin. That's right. Now, mindsets can be transcended, which means you can believe or grown up to be taught to believe a certain way. But as you get older and more comfortable with yourself and more comfortable with thinking for yourself, believing for yourself, and acting in your best interest, because you get old and tired, you're just tired of going around the mulberry bin with the same things. Anyway, then you find out you can transcend your mindset. You can grow past those mindsets that aren't serving you well right now. And then you have habits of mind. You become habitual in your thinking. Statistics are showing us, and studies of the brain are showing us, 90% of our lives is on autopilot. I mean, think about it. When you get up in the morning, you don't have to go through the rigmarole of how do I brush my teeth? If you brush your teeth, which I hope you do. You don't have to think about how to turn your shower on. You don't even have to think about, unless you're getting to the age I'm at, where you do have to think about how you get out of bed. It's autopilot. Put your shoes on, put your clothes on. All of those things, you don't have to spend a lot of brain power thinking through those things. You know why? Because the brain is efficient. The brain likes to spend all of its energy on new things that challenge it to think differently, to teach you how to do something differently. So, habits of mind, I'm always trying to share information on these broadcasts to help you habitually with your mindset. Now, habits of mind, it's important that you do things a different way frequently to keep your mind challenged. Like when you brush your teeth, if you brush with your right hand, which might be your predominant hand, switch up and do it with your left. I happen to be ambidextrous. My left side is actually, well, that's my right. This is my left side. My left side is actually my stronger side, but I've been taught to read and write mostly with my right hand. I mean, to point and do things with my right hand, but it's not my strong side. Okay, so go a different route to work. That's a way to change your mindset, your habits of mind. Put your shoes on. We have a habit of putting on either right foot first or the left foot first. Switch it up. Put your left shoe on first this time. These are little things that you can do when you reach for your water. Instead of reaching for it and drinking it with the same hand, switch it up. When you use your computer at work, use your mouse, put everything on the left-hand side. These are all little bitty things you can do to help with a fixed mindset. Now, when you have a fixed mindset, you have blind spots. And that's what presumptions and assumptions are going to teach you, how to spot your blind spots. So I'm going to share that information with you. One, because this is like my axe to grind with society right now. The audacity. and presumption and assumptions of so many people in this society is just, it's astounding. It's like 4 or 5 years ago, we just decided we were going to get into this fixed mindset with a person that was leading this country and a style of government, and it's no amount of facts can challenge that presumption and assumption. We were even taught the term alternative facts. Something's either true or it's not, or it's mostly true or mostly not. Now, there can be shades of truth. I agree with that, especially right now when you're living in a VUCA world. And VUCA, I taught on that. I have a broadcast. You can go and watch it. I highly recommend it. I do that for corporate clients, but it's just such good information because VUCA is an acronym for volatile, ambiguous, unstable, rather, chaotic, ambiguous, VUCA, volatile, unstable, chaotic, and ambiguous world that we're living in. And your mindset's going to determine how you move and how you get through what we're all going through. And I'll say it again, as I said on every single broadcast, we are all collectively traumatized. So let's jump into this information. And I've got to pull up my notes so I can make sure. Yes, I do my research so I can make sure I'm sharing with you guys good quality information. Every time I say that, I want to say good quality H2O because I love water boy. But anyway, presumption is what we're going to deal with today. Presumption is the acceptance of something as true, although it is not known for certain. Wouldn't you say that's how we're living right now? Mm-hmm. Presumption is the acceptance. It's like you hold it close to you. You fully accept it as true, although it's not known for certain. Assumption is a thing. Now, that's presumption. Assumption is a thing that is accepted as true or certain without any proof whatsoever. You just assume it's the truth. That's an assumption. Presumptuous or presumptuous conduct or attitude is dictated by probability. Like you have good grounds or good reason or evidence leading to the probability of that belief. And where we're living right now, you guys, is we make our presumptions based on what we're told. Somebody else wants us to think or believe. Very few of us do our homework and can tell you what we believe for ourselves because we've done enough assuming and we've done enough presumption in our lives that we know we need some facts and figures, and we need to know something is as true as it can possibly be for us before we believe it or before we act on it. And unfortunately, right now, we are living in a society full-blown on assumption. Very little presumption is being done. Now, remember, presumption is the acceptance of something, although it is not known for certain. And what we do with presumptions, if we want to avoid assumptions, which is the belief of something as being factual with no proof whatsoever, when we want to not be presumptuous or presume something is true, even though we don't have a certainty of information, a certainty of belief, then we do our homework and we look at both sides of something, not just one side that's meant to shape your mindset, shape how you presume and believe, and your attitude and your actions and your way of moving in the world is based on what they told you. And you just assume, oh, they've got to be telling me the truth. Why would they lie to me? And that's where we're in problems right now. Because we're assuming the best without having solid proof that the best interest for us is in their mind. I question anything that makes me weak-willed. Anything and anyone wanting me to be weak-willed, I'm going to question it. And if it's someone I love or someone I want to love, I'm going to give you an presumption that I can believe you and that you have my best interest at heart. And I'm going to find out so I can have a certainty of belief by examining things. I'm going to look at what you say and hold it against your actions. I'm also going to test you and challenge you. And people don't like this. But I have to know if my presumption that you have my best interest at heart is a solid one. Now, this can be achieved very quickly or very slowly. And because I look deep before I leap these days, I used to not be this way. I had the presumption that everybody had my best interest at heart. I had the youthful belief, and it was an innocent, youthful belief that someone wanted the best for me, or that someone thought about me and thought about the world the way I did. It was a presumption that I lived my whole life and I dealt with people and my interpersonal relationships and work and everything with that mindset. Unfortunately, it took a little bit of experience and a whole lot of experiencing people and work situations and things that I had to learn. They didn't have my best interest at heart. They didn't want the best for me. They want the best for themselves. And most people are not against you. Most people are just for themselves. That's a presumption you can make off the bat. And then research it, test it, because at that point, it's a hypothesis. Presumption is characterized by a readiness to presume in conduct or thought as saying or doing something right and permissible and good and kind and the way it's supposed to be. That somebody's following the rules, whatever the rules are. In our country, it's laws. We have laws. Most countries do. But we have laws and we have a constitution and we have codes of conduct and societal norms and manners and upbringing and language and presumptions that people want this, that people want a society where we're kind. We may not always be nice, but the foundation of anything we do is to be kind. We have a presumption of thought that people want to obey the law, that people want to follow the Constitution, that people like democracy, that people don't want other people to get sick because of them. We presume this. And what I submit to you, well, we probably more assume it, but assume is what we're going to talk about next week if I don't have my guest on, which we're still going to talk about mindsets and post-traumatic growth. But I may have an expert on that's an internal medicine doctor. And I hope to have him on so he can share information about how your mindset and how you have your beliefs and how you're moving right now with your attitudes and assumptions and presumptions can either serve you well to keep you and your family and those you love healthy or not. Because we're in a fight right now, okay? We've got this virus. We've got these inoculations. No, I do not call them vaccinations because I don't believe that's what they truly are. All they do, they don't stop you from catching, you know what, but they do help lessen the symptoms. And that's where I have this attitude when I see people presuming or assuming that because they've gotten a vaccination, they can't give you the virus or they can't catch the virus. You can. They tell us that. If you pay attention to what you sign to get the jab, you would know you can still get it. So the choice to take it or not to take it is a difference between whether or not you want to suffer with the severity of symptoms or you want less. But all it is a presumption of safety and this belief of science having your best interest at heart, even though it was expedited, and that the end result is prevention of disease. But because we have gone way past presumption to assumptions, we're fighting each other over things that in society before, which I've studied, behaviors, attitudes, pastors, preachers like Martin Luther back in the bubonic plague. He was very much for people doing what was best for them and best for others. But we don't have that anymore. Now we have people taking a stand on their presumptions and their assumptions and trying to teach you to presume as they do and shut off your righteous mind and not think for yourself, to not make presumptions. Now, I want to highlight something. Assumption and presume and assume both mean to take something as true. The distinguishing fact between presume and assume, presume means you don't know it for certainty, but you have some factual information that you can accept something as being true. Assumption, on the other hand, has no proof, but they assume and accept with certainty of belief that is true. That's a distinguishing fact. Assumption, presumption, both mean to take something as true. With a presumption, though, you have some measurement or factual evidence you can research before you fully accept something as true. That's why I said I can presume to trust you. I can presume you have my best interest at heart, but I'm going to test it. So I can go from presumption to acceptance as true, demonstrated by your consistency of behavior and behavior that aligns with what you told me is true about you. Now, that's where people don't like that. People don't like to be questioned. They just want to be believed. I'm going to tell y'all now. I wish y'all all could join me. I'm research and data driven, and it can be annoying, and it can seem as if I don't trust anything. I do. I like being trusting, but I'm going to test it. I'm going to acquire information that helps my mind accept it as true. And this is really a very important behavior to develop if you're a person of faith. This will keep you from cults. This will keep you being able to use your righteous mind to not shut it off. And as we say right now, oh, I'm so sick of it, become a sheep. You have a right to presume and assume, but I would challenge you to go further and acquire information that demonstrates to you that even though you can assume people are not you, so they're going to think and behave differently. People are not you, so they're going to act and say things differently. They're going to believe how they believe. But you can examine all of that and decide, are they able to, with their presumptions of trust and presumptions of having your best interest in heart, are they able to demonstrate that consistently with their actions? That's why I say presumptions are fine. I want us to develop the ability, if you're listening to me, you're acquiring any new information or confirming information, because I'm not telling you anything new. Sometimes we call being presumptuous common sense, as we don't accept something as true and certain without acquiring more and more information. Now, there is so much power in positive assumptions, which as a society, we have moved so far in this country from the power of positive presumption. We just have. And there's power there that can help us normalize. There's power there that can help you feel powerful, capable, confident. It will build your self-esteem. If you learn to move away from assumptions to presumptions and to know the right amount of research and data for yourself, so that you can then accept certainty of belief. And then your actions can coincide with that certainty of belief. Now, can you permanently park there? No, you can't. You have to, when you move away from assumptive living to the power of presumption, it's a constant, but it's a beautiful thing, and the brain loves it. Remember when I talked about habit of mindset or habit of mind, how we habitually do things 90% of the time we're on autopilot? If you learn to do this with your mindset, in your relationships, in your work, you will find yourself happier, better, behaved, because you're not living your life strictly in assumptions that, everybody's out to get me. Nobody wants anything but for themselves. And as I said, there's a confidence in backed reasoning that you've acquired factual behaviors, attitudes, mindsets, actions, conduct, consistency. All of those things are there that you can cognitively take yourself out of assumptions into presumption of belief. And you can stay there, and there's power there. This is where you can get to the good stuff of enjoying one another, enjoying work, enjoying where you work and who you work for. Or you can stay over in assumptions, and that's a very negative place to be, because you'll then reinforce your assumptions by non-activity of your own. So you just accept the environment, you accept the patterns, you accept the stress, you accept what you've seen them show you without questioning a little deeper. So you know for a fact that, yeah, that's what they did to you. And yeah, that's why they did it. And yeah, you need to believe this for yourself. Okay? This is how I teach people to get their self-esteem back. This is how I get my power back, my self-esteem. This is how I learn how I want to be involved in anything I do, with anyone I do anything with. Mindsets matter. Being presumptive, having an ability to acquire information so you can have certainty of belief, such an important life skill. Okay? So, that's the information for today. Now, I said I was going to have a request and a homework assignment. Based on the information you heard, I want you to identify your conduct of belief behaviors. Are you more presumptive or are you more assumptive? And remember, presumption and assumption both mean to take something as true. Now, with presumption, it implies you have more confidence in evidenced reasoning so that you can get to acceptance of belief. When you are assumptive, it means you have very little evidence supporting your guess, and you just conduct yourself and you believe what you believe, and you will not be confused with facts. Nor do you even seek out a counter belief. You're just assuming. And I don't want that for you. I want us to get back to the power of presumptive thinking, mindsets, and behaviors. There's so much power and positivity there. Okay? So that's your homework. And my call to action is to decide. Make a decision so you can manage that decision. And I'm going to share more information in the chat like I always do. I'm going to give you stuff to self-coach yourself. But I want you to decide for yourself, after you decide which way you are predispositioned to, being presumptive or assumptive. I want you to decide not to be a know-it-all. And I want you to decide to move more towards a positive, presumptive way of living. and to commit to doing your own homework. It ain't a Google search. It ain't a 2-hour sermon on a Sunday. You don't know what that person's real objective is with what they're telling you. Question anything that makes you weak-willed. You have a right to do that. Do you know I am of the belief and of the experience over a long term? God can take us questioning. He doesn't like doubt, but he is perfectly fine making sure you have some certainty of belief with your presumptions about him. And he's told you a lot in his word. But most of us want someone else to tell us. We don't want to experience it for ourselves. And from cradle to grave, that's what God wants for you. He wants you to experience him for yourself. So you have your own beliefs, not your grandma's, not your grandpa's, not your mama and them. You have your own way of believing and experiencing him. And it's a beautiful thing to be there. Now, I do believe in being grounded in the body of faith, making sure you're not a lone wolf. This isn't lone wolf teaching. This is your righteous mind teaching. This is letting you know you have a right to presume and then back that up with some certainty of belief actions. Next week, we're going to talk about assumptions. I'm going to make sure you understand those. And then hopefully we can go further with making sure you understand how to move from being assumptive to a more presumptive certainty of belief thinking or mindset. Okay? So I hope you learned something today. I know this is meaty, but we're getting close to the end of the year. I'm going to have my end of the year challenge. I'm hopefully going to finish this third ebook for you guys about the power of your words. And hopefully we can wrap up the year and start 2022 off. Like I said this last year, Jesus be offense and help. Having a much better year. And I'm not saying circumstances have to change. They may or may not. I don't know. But I know I want my experiences and the way I move through the world to not be assumptive. Okay? Got your homework? Got my call to action, my request of making a decision. And hope you can do that. Take this week. I'll see you next Monday, 10 a.m. CST, right here on the Achieve with Dr. C broadcast. I'm Cheryl Carr, your work doctor. See you next time, okay? Yeah, I'm feeling a little jazzy. I told y'all, it's the best month of the year. I'm a fall baby. I love October. Okay, bye. Y'all have a good one.